Growing up in the 60s and 70s was a privilege, because together we witnessed and experienced the toys that shaped childhood culture. From simple creative inventions to courageous action heroes, those toys were not inanimate objects but vivid cultural memories during the holiday. Today, join me in going back to the past to discover 25 great Christmas toys from these decades that we will never forget. Etch A Sketch, this simple yet mesmerizing mechanical drawing toy, quickly made a deep impression on Santa's wish lists across America in 1960. Its origin story is as thrilling as creating a perfect drawing. Initially, the toy was known by the graceful name La Cron Magic, which translates to magic screen. The launch of Etch A Sketch was supported by massive television advertising campaigns, aired during prime time, making it an essential item in every household. This toy features two small knobs. One controls the horizontal line and the other controls the vertical line. By rotating these two knobs, children can control an internal cursor to create images on the screen, as if performing magic. The feeling of turning those knobs, hearing the small internal metal parts working, and then seeing sharp lines appear on the gray screen is an unforgettable experience. Despite its simple design, Etch A Sketch offered endless creative possibilities, challenging the imagination of an entire generation. Unlike traditional paper and pencils, Etch A Sketch allowed children to create and erase their artwork again and again by shaking the screen. With Etch A Sketch, art was never limited, and anyone could become an artist, provided they had enough patience to draw a complex curve using only perpendicular straight lines. The Evel Knievel stunt cycle was the toy that every kid craved. Evel Knievel, the famous stuntman, was transformed into an action figure accompanied by an impressive motorcycle, wearing his distinctive red, white, and blue jumpsuit. But the true magic came from the accompanying orange launcher. To prepare for the launch, children would place the motorcycle into the launcher, grab the charging handle, and start winding. The sound created while charging was V-room, exactly like a real motorcycle accelerating, attracting the attention of every child in the neighborhood. The feeling of controlling a legendary stuntman performing dangerous stunts right in the living room was incredibly exciting. Children often turned the living room into a stunt arena, using books as jump ramps and lining up other toys as the audience, even using mom's pillows as a safety net. When you released the handle, the motorcycle would launch like a rocket. Sometimes Evel would execute the perfect jump and receive cheers, but the times when the bike crashed and tumbled through the air were even more exciting and funny. Although sometimes the launcher's charging cord got tangled, or Evel lost his helmet under the sofa, finding him always felt like a treasure hunt. This is the kind of toy that made you feel like a true stunt director, where chaos was part of the fun. The $6 Million Man action figure, or Colonel Steve Austin, launched in 1975, gave the feeling of having a real spy device right in your toy box. Steve Austin was no ordinary action figure. He had extremely cool features that made other toys look boring. The most incredible part of this figure was the tiny bionic eye. Children could look through a small hole in the back of his head, and suddenly everything looked different, like looking through a miniature telescope. This instantly turned the bedroom into a top-secret spy headquarters. The closet became the enemy base, under the bed was a secret tunnel, and the windowsill transformed into an observation post. But that wasn't all. His bionic arm had a fantastic feature, emitting a satisfying click when you raised it, just like in the TV show. Children would spend hours testing Austin's bionic eyes, scanning for bad guys hiding behind other toys. Steve Austin came with a cool red tracksuit and perfectly styled hair, just like the actor Lee Majors in the show. Sometimes Austin teamed up with other action figures on super-secret rescue missions, solidifying his position as a high-tech hero for Christmas. The Easy Bake Oven truly heated up the 1963 Christmas wish list, offering children the opportunity to bake real cakes and snacks without needing an actual oven. This is considered a timeless genius idea, as new versions of this toy are still produced today. However, when it first launched in 1963, the toy caused some significant concern among parents, who worried about the safety of a toy oven. To thoroughly address those concerns and ensure child safety, Kenner, the toy company, introduced a clever engineering solution. Instead of using a complex heating element, Kenner installed two 100-watt light bulbs as the heat source. This method heated the food enough to bake small cakes while significantly minimizing the risk of serious burns. The Easy Bake Oven quickly became a phenomenon, allowing children to make small cakes, cookies, and various other treats themselves. The feeling of mixing the batter, pouring it into a small mold, pushing it inside the tiny oven, and patiently waiting for the cake to bake under the warm light of the bulbs is deeply memorable. The fact that children could make their own snacks using a toy oven revolutionized playtime, making the Easy Bake Oven one of the most memorable toys of the 60s. While Barbie had dominated the doll world since 1959, Mattel realized that to retain fans and expand the play experience, they needed to create a more complete world for this fashion queen. And so, in 1962, the Barbie Dreamhouse was born, taking the Barbie experience to a new level. This house was not just a model, it was a gateway into Barbie's world, where children could design and control everything themselves. The original 1962 Barbie Dreamhouse was a foldable cardboard house. This design immediately appealed to children as it allowed them to immerse themselves completely in Barbie's life. The house came fully furnished with furniture and accessories, turning it into a complete mini dollhouse for young Barbie fans to unleash their creativity. Children could imagine countless adventures and new scenarios for their dolls, from hosting dinner parties to rearranging Barbie's living room. The feeling of decorating, arranging Barbie's tiny furniture, and creating a perfect living space for their favorite character was incredibly fun. This toy became a huge hit during the 1962 Christmas season, fueling creativity and limitless playtime. Thank you for watching. If this video brings back beautiful memories of Christmas night, please press the hype button right below the video to support us. Chatter Telephone is proof that the best toy ideas often come from simple observations of how children play. This friendly toy rang true at the top of the 1962 Christmas list. The Chatter Telephone was created with a cheerful, smiling face, equipped with wheels for easy pulling, fun noise-making buttons, and a real ringing bell. Initially, the model was made of wood, but was later switched to more durable plastic. The simple yet appealing design of the Chatter Telephone captured the hearts of children. It gave children their first taste of communication, allowing them to pretend to make important calls while pulling their smiling telephone friend around the house. The feeling of pulling this phone across the floor, hearing the bell ring and the buttons click with every turn of the wheel, is an inseparable part of childhood. The Chatter Telephone also served as a tool for young children to explore the adult world through role-playing. Its playful design and interactive features stimulated young imaginations and kept children entertained for hours. It became a beloved Christmas gift, and its position as a nostalgic icon is still cemented today. Operation, the dramatic simulated surgery game, was invented in 1964 by John Spinello, a student at the University of Illinois. Initially just a class project, the game quickly captured the attention of Milton Bradley, who began producing it in 1965. Operation instantly became the most sought-after toy that Christmas season. The premise of the Operation game is incredibly simple yet extremely stressful and requires high dexterity. Players must perform surgery on a patient with a prominent red nose by carefully picking out various humorous ailments, writer's cramp, or water on the knee from the holes without touching the surrounding metal edges. This is a tough test of the player's hand-eye coordination and motor skills. The feeling of tension as you maneuver the metal tweezers close to the target area, holding your breath so your hand doesn't shake, is the core experience of Operation. And then, if the player makes the slightest mistake, the patient's nose will immediately light up and a terrifying bzzz sound will ring out, signaling failure. That bzzz sound not only startled you, but also made others burst into laughter. In the golden days of the 70s, Mego was the name that filled children's hearts with excitement. They were not just any toy company. They were the creators of the most iconic action figures of the classic era. If a movie or TV show was popular in the 70s, you could bet that Mego had a corresponding action figure. Mego brought these beloved characters to life in the form of 8-inch soft sculpted figures. Mego's major breakthrough was the world's greatest superheroes collection. The real magic was that Mego somehow achieved a near-impossible feat at the time. They secured the rights to both Marvel and DC characters. This unique combination meant fans could finally stage the classic battles they only dreamed of, like Spider-Man versus Superman or Captain America fighting Batman. When Mego launched this series, it changed the game, cementing the company's position as one of the coolest and most beloved toy manufacturers of the decade. Mego figures were the center of imaginary universes, where superheroes from different worlds could cooperate or confront each other in epic Christmas missions. Light-Bright was a brilliant and simple idea that brought vibrant light into the lives of children everywhere upon its launch. This toy was like owning a mini Times Square billboard right in your bedroom. Light-Bright consists of a backlit grid, covered by a sheet of black paper. Children would use colored pegs to pierce the paper, creating patterns and images. These pegs would then be brilliantly illuminated by the light panel underneath, creating a mesmerizing, glowing piece of art. The combination of creativity and color made Light-Bright an instant hit, and it quickly found its way to the top of Santa's list in 1967. Initially, Light-Bright came with paper templates, showing exactly where to place each colored peg. However, the real fun came from children creating their own designs. We spent hours creating spacecraft, writing names in different colors, or making abstract patterns that looked like sparkling fireworks. Over time, Light-Bright continued to evolve, eventually including image templates of popular culture characters and famous cartoons, making it even more appealing. It became a fixture in households, offering hours of imaginative play as children created brilliantly illuminated artwork. However, this toy had a small drawback. The tiny pegs could scatter everywhere, and accidentally stepping on a peg in the dark was like stepping on a small lightning bolt, an unforgettable, painful experience. In 1968, Hot Wheels emerged powerfully, quickly becoming an essential toy for speed-loving kids. The story of Hot Wheels is one of friendly family rivalry. Elliot Handler, co-founder of Mattel, was striving to catch up with the resounding success of his wife, Ruth Handler. Elliot wanted to create a toy that boys would love as much as girls loved Barbie. The result was Hot Wheels, a die-cast car version with a strong, muscular, and cooler American style compared to the British Matchbox cars. The first line of Hot Wheels included 16 brilliantly colored and metallic hot rods, each designed with an emphasis on speed and durability. Hot Wheels were not just toy cars. They were a lifestyle for boys who built complex tracks and staged epic races right in their living rooms. The indispensable feature of Hot Wheels was the iconic orange track. These orange tracks made it easy for children to organize their own thrilling races, complete with loops, spectacular jumps, and dangerous curves. The feeling of placing the car in the launcher, pressing the button, and watching the car shoot off at lightning speed, creating a slight whistling sound as it passed through the loop, was an unmatched joy. 1977 was a landmark year for toys thanks to the release of a small movie called Star Wars. The film immediately became a cultural phenomenon, leading to a huge demand for Star Wars toys. However, Kenner, the company holding the exclusive rights to produce Star Wars toys, was caught off guard by the film's success and could not produce enough toys for the Christmas season. To solve this problem, Kenner introduced an ingenious solution package, the Early Bird Certificate Package. This package was sold during the 1977 holiday season. It was an empty box that came with a certificate that children could send to Kenner to redeem for the first 4 action figures: Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, Chewbacca, and R2-D2. Although the toys were not immediately available, these certificates kept the excitement high. By 1978, the figures, which were about 3.75 inches tall, and various playsets were available and became the hottest items during that Christmas season. Having these figures was like having the ticket to recreate the entire movie in the bedroom. The Millennium Falcon playset was called the Holy Grail because it was huge, had secret compartments, and made exciting sounds. And you know what? Even today, the original empty box early bird certificate package can sell to collectors for a price that yields profit. Which toy from the 70s has lasted the longest in your home, even being passed down to your children and grandchildren? Please share this memory in the comments below. In 1966, a brand new dramatic action game entered the arena, Rock'em Sock'em Robots. Created by Marvin Glass and Associates and manufactured by Marx Toys, the game quickly won children's affection due to its simple yet highly engaging gameplay. The feeling of controlling a mechanical robot in a boxing match was every child's dream in Christmas 1966. The game includes two robots, Red Rocker and Blue Bomber. Each robot is controlled by the player through a simple set of joysticks. The objective of the game is clear and dramatic. Land the perfect punch to knock the opponent's head off the robot's body. The game is simple but brings great joy, capturing the imagination of children everywhere. The action-packed gameplay of Rock'em Sock'em Robots allowed children to stage thrilling boxing matches, cheering for their favorite robot in a mechanical showdown. With every punch thrown, players felt the tension increase, waiting for the final decisive blow to knock the opponent's head off their shoulders. Although the game relies on simple mechanics, the excitement of finally seeing the opponent robot's head pop off its shoulders is an incredibly satisfying moment of victory. Rock'em Sock'em Robots became a resounding success at Christmas 1966, cementing its position as one of the most iconic toys of the 60s. It may sound strange, but in 1975, Rocks became the hottest Christmas gift, all thanks to the genius marketing strategy of Gary Dahl. Dahl, an advertising executive, came up with the idea of the Rock Pet while joking with friends about how easy it would be to care for a low-maintenance pet. He believed that Rocks would be the best pets because they didn't need care, feeding, grooming, or cleaning. Dahl's joke quickly turned into a big business when he packaged the inanimate Rocks into small boxes. These boxes were even designed with ventilation holes and came with a humorous training manual. Parents liked the simplicity of the idea, and children found the concept funny and strangely appealing. Pet Rock became a national craze, with millions of Rocks sold in just a few months. Although the fad quickly faded after that Christmas, Pet Rock brought Dahl millions of dollars and became the most desired toy for most children in 1975. Pet Rock is a classic example of how smart marketing and timing can turn a simple, even absurd idea into a cultural phenomenon. The feeling of opening the box, finding an ordinary rock placed ceremoniously on a bed of straw, and then reading the hilarious instruction manual on how to teach your pet to stay still was a unique Christmas experience. In 1978, Simon exploded onto the toy market as an electronic game testing short-term memory skills. Invented by Ralph Baer and Howard Morrison, Simon was a simple but addictive game. This colorful, flying saucer-shaped device had 4 large buttons, each producing a different musical tone when pressed. The game would flash an increasingly complex sequence of lights and sounds, and the player had to accurately copy that sequence, pushing their memory skills to the limit. Miss one color, and you would hear the buzz sound signaling the end of the game. The colorful circular design and engaging gameplay made Simon an instant hit. Launched at $24.95, Simon became the must-have toy in 1978 and was the best-selling toy of 1979. The repeating flashing lights and the strangely resonant beep sounds made it easy for players to lose track of time. We organized Simon tournaments at sleepovers, playing until our eyes blurred from staring at those lights. Simon proved that technology and simple fun could go hand in hand, and it paved the way for the technological revolution in toys that followed. Lego, the building bricks that have become the foundation of countless architectural works and creative stories, originates from the Danish phrase "leg godt," meaning play well. Although the Lego company has existed since the 1930s, it wasn't until 1949, when the iconic interlocking plastic bricks were introduced, that Lego truly became a household name worldwide. By 1969, Lego had stacked its way up to the leading position on Santa's list. The beauty of Lego lies in its absolute simplicity. Just stack, connect, and build. This allowed children to create anything their imagination could dream of. From simple towers to entire complex cities, Lego offered unlimited possibilities. What made Lego even more exciting was that the same set of blocks could be disassembled and rebuilt into something completely new again and again. By the late 1960s, Lego sets had expanded to include vehicles, buildings, and even entire themed sets. The creativity that Lego inspired in children was endless, and its popularity has never waned. Spirograph, created by British engineer Dennis Fisher, revolutionized creative play. This toy allowed children to create stunning spiral geometric designs using a set of gears, wheels, and colored pens. It was an almost hypnotic experience, perfectly blending art and mathematics. To use the spirograph, players place the gears inside each other and then guide the colored pen around the pattern. By doing this, children could create intricate spiral shapes, astonishing viewers with their detail and complexity. What made Spirograph truly unique was its blend of mathematical logic and artistic freedom, stimulating both creativity and curiosity. The resulting designs were incredibly diverse, offering hours of entertainment as children experimented with different gear combinations to create new patterns. The colorful, mesmerizing artwork that Spirograph created made it a beloved Christmas gift in 1967, appealing to both children and parents who appreciated its educational value. Spirograph quickly became an indispensable part of childhood in the late 1960s and 1970s. It is a testament to the fact that the simple act of drawing can be both artistic and mathematical. In skill-based games like Operation or Spirograph, do you have any personal records? Tell us about your most memorable, hilarious victory or defeat. In 1970, Nerf burst onto the toy market with a bang, or rather a bounce. Nerf is short for non-expanding recreational foam. Marketed by Parker Brothers, Nerf was advertised as the world's first indoor ball, a revolutionary concept that immediately appealed to both children and parents. The original Nerf ball was designed to be soft and lightweight, allowing children to throw it around the house without worrying about breaking windows or knocking over lamps. It solved the conflict between children's desire for active play and parents' concerns about indoor safety. The Nerf ball was an immediate hit, with over 4 million units sold in the first year alone. Children loved its bouncy and soft nature, while parents felt secure about its safety. Nerf quickly expanded its product line to include other foam toys, with the Nerf football eventually taking the crown as the best-selling toy in the line. This innovative toy became a Christmas staple, topping wish lists in 1970. Nerf's success proved that fun and safety could go hand in hand. The feeling of being able to throw a ball as hard as you can in the living room, without fear of punishment, that was the greatest gift Nerf gave to children. The slogan, "Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down," swept the toy world when Weebles launched in 1971. Created by Playskool, Weebles were small, egg-shaped figures. What made them unique was their weighted base, which allowed them to sway back and forth, wobble fiercely but almost never fully tip over. With bright colors and a simple design, Weebles quickly became a favorite toy for young children. They were not only visually appealing, their dynamic wobbling movement was almost hypnotic to children. No matter how hard you pushed them, they always bounced back, almost as if they were laughing at your attempts to make them fall. The Weebles line included a whole family of characters, along with various playsets to enhance the play experience. Whether they were wobbling in a toy car or sliding down a small ramp in the Weebles house playset, these figures constantly entertained children with their unique design. The toy's simplicity and durability made it perfect for small hands, and it became a bestseller during the 1971 Christmas season. Shrinky Dinks brought a touch of magic to Christmas morning. These thin plastic sheets were advertised as pure magic. Shrinky Dinks was a craft activity for children, where they could color and design shapes on the thin plastic sheets. The magical part happened afterward. These plastic sheets would be baked in the oven. When heated, the plastic would shrink to a fraction of its original size, simultaneously thickening and hardening, creating small, durable pieces of art. The concept was simple yet incredibly captivating, offering children the opportunity to create personalized keychains, jewelry, and other decorations. Parents loved Shrinky Dinks because it encouraged creativity, while children were mesmerized by this miraculous shrinking process. Any child who eagerly stood in front of the oven glued their eyes to the plastic sheet slowly twisting, shrinking, and finally transforming into a rigid piece of art has an unforgettable memory. Shrinky Dinks became a huge hit during the 1973 Christmas season, finding its way into families across the country. It was a fun, hands-on craft activity that added an extra element of excitement to the holiday season. This toy turned the process of Christmas baking into an art laboratory where simple raw materials were transformed by heat into unique and durable gifts. Skateboarding began as a sidewalk pastime in the 1950s when children attached roller skate wheels to a board and started gliding. However, it wasn't until the early 1970s that the sport truly peaked thanks to a revolutionary invention: urethane wheels. The creation of urethane wheels completely changed the skateboarding game. This new material offered a smoother, more durable ride, with better grip on various surfaces. This innovation made skateboarding more accessible and fun for children everywhere, leading to a boom in its popularity. Urethane wheels allowed skaters to perform more complex tricks and navigate rougher surfaces more easily, completely changing the game. Suddenly, the skateboard was not just a fun toy, but also a legitimate means of transportation and a real extreme sport. By the mid-1970s, skateboards were selling out during the Christmas season. Children everywhere wanted the latest boards equipped with these revolutionary wheels. The feeling of gliding smoothly on a new skateboard, with the slight hissing sound of the wheels on the pavement, offered a sense of freedom and style that few toys could match. The introduction of urethane wheels transformed a simple toy into an icon of youth culture. Slip and Slide, the toy that defined summer memories filled with laughter and cool water, slid onto the Christmas wish list in 1961. However, its origin came from a father's concern and was actually more dangerous than the safety worries we hear about today. The story begins in 1960, when an upholsterer named Robert D. Carrier returned home and found his son and his friends sliding on the wet stone patio. Carrier worried about their safety because sliding on such a hard surface could cause serious injuries. To solve this problem, Carrier decided to create a smoother and safer sliding experience. He constructed a long plastic slide, designed to be placed on hard surfaces and wetted with water. That is how the Slip and Slide was born, turning a dangerous surface into an exciting, slippery runway. Although there were some safety concerns from the beginning, children across the country were still captivated by this toy. The feeling of running up, jumping on, and sliding far down the wet plastic sheet, creating a splash of water under the sun, was the pure joy of summer. In 1977, the Atari 2600 was on every child's wish list, becoming one of the most sought-after gifts during the Christmas season. It was initially released under the name Video Computer System, VCS, or Video Arcade Cartridge System. This home gaming system brought the excitement of arcade video games straight into the living room. Priced at $178.95, the Atari 2600 was a luxury item. However, it quickly became a status symbol for families. Parents agreed to place the machine with the wooden front near the TV, hoping it looked classy enough and not too much like a toy. Atari's big advantage over previous consoles was the ability to swap game cartridges, making it a long-term entertainment investment. We were mesmerized by the simple yet seemingly very realistic block graphics. The joystick was very simple, with only one stick and one red button. I remember the feeling of sweaty hands during intense Space Invaders battles, and how the whole family gathered to take turns playing Pong. Atari's success paved the way for the video game industry as we know it today. In 1964, in the context that Barbie had dominated the doll market for girls since 1959, Hasbro decided it was time to create something equally exciting and iconic for boys. The result was G.I. Joe fighting its way to the top of the 1964 Christmas list. In a revolutionary marketing decision, the company tried to avoid using the word doll in the vocabulary related to G.I. Joe. Instead, they coined the term action figure, forever changing how boys perceived their toys. G.I. Joe was designed as a brave, ready-to-fight soldier, offering boys an outlet for their imagination to soar in war and adventure scenarios. Joe's strong, tough design, along with realistic accessories including weapons and military equipment, made him an instant hit. Although G.I. Joe has undergone many changes in size, appearance, and storyline over the years, the essence of this action figure remains the same. A symbol of courage, strength, and the spirit of adventure. In 1974, G.I. Joe was equipped with the Kung Fu Grip, a feature that made a total difference. Instead of stiff plastic hands, Joe now had soft rubber hands that could actually grip objects with strong force. G.I. Joe was the gift that took the concept of action role-playing to a new level during Christmas. Was the 1970s the golden age of Christmas decorations? Before the world became obsessed with perfectly curated trees, the magic of the holidays lived in frayed silver tinsel, the soft electric hum of old string lights, and the sharp scent of pine mixed with itchy spray snow. Step inside this cozy vintage living room and rediscover 25 vintage Christmas decorating trends we've quietly left behind. Remember the moment you stood close to the tree, mesmerized by the colored liquid inside, constantly bubbling like a tiny coffee percolator? Bubble lights are one of the most enchanting decorations ever to grace a Christmas tree. Introduced by Noma Electric in 1946, they peaked in popularity throughout the 1960s. These lights contained colored liquid in a thin glass tube, heated by the bulb inside. As the temperature rose, the liquid began to bubble and move incessantly, creating continuous motion on the tree. Children were often mesmerized, staring at this movement. It usually took about 5 minutes for them to start bubbling. Unfortunately, they had some drawbacks. Each light was a piece of very fragile glass, and when broken, the mysterious liquid inside could spill out. Although this liquid was relatively non-toxic, parents still worried their children might drink it. Moreover, these lights consumed significant electricity, noticeably increasing the power bill. By 1975, concerns about the energy crisis and safety regulations significantly reduced their popularity. Modern LED lights do not generate enough heat to recreate the authentic bubble effect, although reproduction versions do exist. We miss that gentle, bubbling magic, an unpredictable charm of vintage items. They brought a lively feel, as if the tree itself was breathing and participating in the festivities. This is the decoration that created a perfect, sparkling look, but also drove everyone crazy with itchiness. Angel hair snow was a decorative material used to create a soft, shimmering, and perfect look for the final finish on the tree or mantle. When sprinkled on branches, it provided a dreamy effect, as if the tree had just been dusted with a fresh, sparkling layer of snow. Everyone knew the uncomfortable truth behind that sparkling beauty. Angel hair was made of spun glass fibers. Anyone who touched it vividly remembers the annoying, tiny itch it left on their hands and collars. Decorating with angel hair was an act of taking risks for the sake of art. Despite being itchy and uncomfortable, it was widely used because it had an almost magical utility. It made the light sparkle a bit more. The superb light reflection of the glass fibers compensated for the physical discomfort, making many families believe the risk was worthwhile for the ultimate Christmas beauty. Today, this material has almost disappeared due to health and safety concerns, but it remains a powerful Christmas memory, a mix of beauty and chaos typical of 70s Christmas. Cleaning up angel hair after Christmas was also a challenge, as those tiny fibers clung to everything, ensuring the memory of angel hair lasted several weeks after the holiday. When Hallmark launched keepsake ornaments in 1973, they truly changed the game in holiday decorating. Previously, ornaments were mainly glittering glass balls, but Hallmark introduced a new concept: ornaments that were not just beautiful but also told stories. They brought a fresh emotional depth to tree decorating. Hallmark keepsake ornaments allowed families to turn their tree into a personalized timeline of Christmas memories. Each year, families would buy a new ornament to commemorate a major event, a birth, a trip, or a special milestone. The collection included designs ranging from classic Santa Claus to references to pop culture, such as cartoon characters and symbols of the era. Their introduction transformed tree decorating from an annual task into a meaningful ritual of remembrance. Rare and early versions, especially those from the 70s, are now sought after by collectors. They are the most treasured keepsakes linked to personal stories. It was these items that solidified the idea that Christmas is about the accumulation of memories over the years, making each tree unique and irreplaceable. Look at the felt stocking hanging on the mantle. That was the true DIY masterpiece of 1970s Christmas. They were sewn with felt, love, patience, and about 1,000 sparkling sequins. Busilla kits were extremely popular. Mom or Grandma would spread the felt pieces on the dining table and spend weeks, often during long winter evenings, sewing on each tiny sequin, following the kit instructions. This wasn't a quick weekend craft, but a project that lasted weeks. Each stocking was its own story, often featuring festive images like snowmen, reindeer, or Santa Claus, with details cut from colored felt and appliqued. What was special was that they were often personalized by cutting out felt letters to embroider each child's name. The sequins caught the light from the fireplace and sparkled as if enchanted. These Busilla felt stockings are among the most treasured relics from that era, hanging along the mantle as powerful symbols of family love. They attest that Christmas was not about store-bought perfection, but love expressed through every stitch. Remember the warm, gentle glow emanating from the ceramic Christmas tree, something every child loved. The ceramic Christmas tree was a household staple, and almost every grandmother or aunt owned one. They were hand-painted decorations often made in ceramics classes, providing a special personal touch and glowing from within. The tree was studded with small, multicolored plastic pegs inserted through holes in the ceramic body, creating a jewel-like twinkle effect. The ceramic tree sat proudly on the TV console or a side table, casting a cozy, gentle light. The soft light from this ceramic tree, blended with the gentle hum of the TV playing the Yule log, was the definition of Christmas serenity. They were compact, perfect for tabletops or mantles, providing an alternative source of festive light to the main large tree. Did you know original ceramic trees, especially those from Atlantic mold or Holland mold, are now sought after by collectors and can sell for $100 to $400, depending on size and condition? Go home to Grandma's house and see if she still keeps this tree. Those glitter-covered cardboard houses transformed the display area into a magical winter village right under the Christmas tree. Putz houses are tiny architectural models used to turn the space beneath the Christmas tree into a magical winter village. This tradition, though originating in Germany, remained an indispensable charm in Christmas displays. These small houses were typically made from thin cardboard assembled by hand and then covered in sparkling glitter. They had small cutouts in the back or base so that Christmas lights could shine from within, creating a soft and warm glow effect. Their handmade appearance, with slightly messy roofs and scattered glitter, created a charming, rustic appeal. Creating the Putz Village was a family activity, where everyone arranged the houses, mini pine trees, and perhaps added a small toy train running around. These models were imperfect, but that very imperfection added to their characteristic charm. They are symbols of imagination and handmade creativity, bringing a new dimension every holiday season. Before streaming services, Christmas music was played on vinyl records, and these albums were an annual event. Interestingly, the source of the most popular Christmas albums came from unexpected places: tire stores like Firestone and Goodyear, along with RCA. Parents often brought these albums home as a complimentary gift or a special promotional item. The glossy album covers promised fantastic Christmas songs, featuring the voices of legends like Andy Williams, Perry Como, Doris Day, Bing Crosby, and Nat King Cole. This music filled the living room, mixing with the scent of pine needles, cinnamon-scented candles, and fiberglass snow. The most distinctive aspect of listening to music on vinyl was the sound. The gentle crackle of the vinyl record as the needle tracked across it became an integral part of the Christmas soundtrack. an auditory sign of the holiday season. Families collected these albums over the years, turning them into a musical time capsule of Christmases past. RCA Christmas albums became the soundtrack of the holiday season and were played on turntables across America during family gatherings. What made us willing to risk a cut finger just to touch these fragile glass spheres, shimmering like fine china? Shiny, bright ornaments were the epitome of elegance on the 1970s Christmas tree. They were fragile, brilliant, and anxiety-inducing whenever they were hung, requiring maximum care, as if we were handling fine china. They were made of sturdy glass, featured vivid colors, and stood out with detailed hand-painted designs. Popular and brilliant colors like pink, yellow, and turquoise stripes not only reflected light from colored bulbs, but potentially even static electricity from the old TV in the living room. Shiny, bright ornaments were mass-produced in the US after World War II and quickly became an essential item in every family's holiday decor. The strongest nostalgic feeling associated with them is the storage box. Every box contained one or two slightly chipped items, which were precisely the ornaments placed at the back of the tree, where they could hide their imperfections while still contributing to the overall sparkle. Their sparkle and light reflection made them an indispensable part of the messy and dazzling Christmas beauty of that era. Today, these ornaments are still sought after by collectors. They represent an era when fragile glass items were treasured and handled with love, a stark contrast to today's durable plastic items. The splendor of Shiny Bright defined the memory of a 70s Christmas tree, where everything was radiant and captivating. Step into the living room in the days before Christmas, and you'd be mesmerized by all that sparkle. Aluminum Christmas trees were the pinnacle of modern sophistication in the late 1960s. They represented a bold shift from the tradition of real trees to a glittering, chic, space-age symbol. The Aluminum Specialty Company produced over 1 million of these metallic wonders, priced between $15 and $25 at a time. These trees came in various sizes from 2 to 8 feet, with branch tips resembling silver bottle brushes, creating a distinct and shimmering appearance. But do you remember you couldn't use traditional lights on them due to the electrocution risk from the conductive metal? Instead, families had to rely on the color wheel. These were rotating discs with colored gel segments that spun slowly, bathing the tree in constantly changing hues. It was this movement of light that brought life to the glittering aluminum tree, creating a unique, dynamic light show. Unfortunately, their popularity sharply declined by the late 60s. The primary reason was the 1965 Special A Charlie Brown Christmas, which openly criticized their artificiality, leading to a sharp drop in sales by 1969. The distinctive heavy sparkle that the 1960s tree offered now only exists in photographs. These giant plastic candles were likened to the silent sentinels of the holiday season, standing proudly in every front window. They symbolized a quiet promise that Christmas had arrived, and joy was spreading. Their defining feature was the plastic candle body, often red or yellow, and after years of attic storage, they might have slight scratches, bearing the marks of time and family love. The most magical thing was the ambiance they created. They didn't flicker, but instead emitted a gentle hum of electrical warmth. Plugging in these candles was often a small ritual assigned to children, making them feel like they had just lit a magical holiday lighthouse. As night fell and temperatures dropped, seeing the candlelight emit a warm halo through frosted or frozen window panes created an unforgettable Christmas atmosphere. The entire neighborhood owned them, turning the streets into a unified and warm display of festive light. These candles were considered tradition made of light and were rarely discarded. They were carefully stored and brought out year after year. Today, when modern Christmas lights are often battery-powered or have complex timers, we miss the simple yet profound feeling of just plugging them in once and leaving them lit until the new year. Owning this tree topper meant your Christmas tree automatically became the centerpiece of the neighborhood, drawing glances from passers-by. This design captured the imaginative, dynamic spirit of the decade. The defining feature of the Bradford Celestial Star was its internal rotating mechanism, combined with multicolored frosted panels. When plugged in, this mechanism created mesmerizing patterns that spun and danced on the ceiling and living room walls. This movement of light created an ethereal atmosphere, completely different from the static light of ordinary bulbs. It added a dimension of motion and color to the indoor Christmas landscape. In an era where outdoor decorating had not reached today's level of complexity, this interior light show was an incredible high-tech highlight. The Bradford Star is still sought after by collectors, and a well-functioning topper can sell for $50 to $150. It is a symbol of creativity and joy, an item we truly miss for its ability to transform a room into a small, festive universe. The feeling of sitting beneath that rotating, shimmering light, hearing the gentle hum of the electric motor, was the definition of Christmas coziness. Perhaps this is the only decoration that was both edible and yet almost never fully eaten. Every living room had a formal candy dish placed in a central location. This dish was usually heavy glass with a scalloped rim or intricately carved, sitting neatly on the coffee table. Inside this precious dish were rainbow ribbon candies, too beautiful to almost eat. The reality was that ribbon candy often stuck together due to humidity and time, turning them into a sticky mint candy sculpture rather than individual ribbons. Nevertheless, they were still admired as a work of art. Alongside the ribbon candy were jewel-toned sugar jellies, small, soft fruit slices that sparkled and always left a trail of sugar dust on your fingers. These candies appeared right after Thanksgiving and were admired until the new year. And interestingly, they were often not fully eaten unless someone sneakily nibbled a corner. This candy dish was the centerpiece of the holiday season, often placed next to a bowl of walnuts, Christmas cards, and perhaps some strands of tinsel. The sticky, sparkling sensation of the candy dish became part of the sensory memory of vintage Christmas, a unique blend of beauty and imperfection. If this video brings back fond memories, please support it. Your support helps keep nostalgic content like this alive. These oversized plastic candy canes transformed ordinary driveways into a dazzling and bold festive walkway. In the 1970s, outdoor decorating began to become bolder, and General Foam Plastics candy canes were a symbol of that trend. They were oversized candy canes made of plastic and designed to withstand winter weather. Although not subtle, they were popular for their bright colors, usually red and white, and their durability. They were typically lined up along the driveway or walkway, creating a brilliant, joyful path leading to the front door. These plastic candy canes added a fun, extravagant element to outdoor Christmas displays, a change from traditional wreaths and white lights. Their appearance reflected the trend of families starting to expand their decorating efforts from the living room to the exterior space. They were part of the colorful decorating chaos we remember from that era. Look at these porcelain angels. They are symbols of the era's exquisite craftsmanship. Lefton porcelain angels were beloved figurines known for their exquisite craftsmanship and the grace they brought to holiday displays. Like Goebel, Lefton represented the quality and artistic side of 1970s Christmas collectibles. These porcelain figures were often hand-painted with intricate festive details, from their delicate wings to their flowing gowns and gentle faces. They often adorned mantels, side tables, or shelves alongside the ceramic Christmas tree and girly candles. The serenity and classical beauty of the Lefton angels provided a wonderful balance to the vibrant chaos of tinsel and shiny bright glass balls. They were part of the collection of items treasured by mothers and grandmothers. They remind us of the importance of items made with love and attention to the smallest detail in creating the Christmas atmosphere. The perfect Christmas tinsel, shimmering like a silver waterfall, but it turned out we were using a toxic metal on our trees. This is an unforgettable decorating trend of the 1960s and early 1970s, though for health reasons. The sparkling silver strands of tinsel used to decorate every Christmas tree back then were not plastic. They were made from real lead foil until 1972. Lead was invented in Germany in 1610 and created an unmatched sparkle that modern materials cannot imitate. Lead tinsel had heavy weight, allowing it to hang perfectly straight creating a magical silver waterfall effect on the branches. A box of 1,000 strands cost only 39 cents in 1965. Families carefully saved and reused lead tinsel year after year, handling each strand like a precious item. Children spent hours placing one strand at a time, although many ended up tossing handfuls for instant sparkle. However, the FDA banned lead tinsel in 1972 due to the risk of poisoning, especially for children who might ingest them. Manufacturers switched to aluminum and plastic, but no material captured the unique properties of lead. Mylar tinsel later was lighter, easily tangled, and generated static electricity. Ultimately, many families stopped using tinsel entirely, and the heavy, characteristic sparkle of the 60s tree only exists in photos. While Woolworths offered a sense of rustic tradition, the Goebel Nativity set brought artistry and elegance to decorating. These figurines were made from high-quality porcelain and were meticulously hand-painted with intricate details, setting them apart from simpler sets. The sophistication and craftsmanship and material quality made the Goebel set a treasured collection, often passed down from generation to generation. They were not just decorations, they were highly regarded religious artworks. Every line, from the folds in the wise men's robes to the tenderness on the Virgin Mary's face, showed meticulous care. This contrasted with the chaotic, messy decorating style of the 70s, demonstrating that even in that era, there was room for formal and elaborate items. Their collector value remains intact today, with high prices in the antique collecting market. Displaying Goebel figurines showed respect for craftsmanship and was a symbol of the spiritual richness of Christmas. The dining table was no longer just a place to eat. It was the stage for the biggest Christmas dinner of the year, and the Lenox china set was its most formal attire. Lenox Christmas china brought a layer of refinement and formality to the holiday meal that everyday dinnerware couldn't match. Lenox was famous for using high-quality porcelain and often featured vibrant gold rims, combined with classic holiday motifs like holly leaves and ribbons. For many 1970s families, owning a Lenox china set was a sign of adulthood and a demonstration of formal hospitality. They only used their Lenox set for Christmas dinner and perhaps Thanksgiving, creating a formal and special atmosphere for the most important occasions. Storing and retrieving the Lenox set was a significant part of holiday preparation, signaling that the biggest meal of the year was about to happen. Every item, plates, bowls, teacups, was handled with maximum care. The Lenox china set transformed family meals into an event, elevating the Christmas experience to a level of luxury and tradition. The console stereo was an important household fixture in the 1960s and 1970s, and the centerpiece of the Christmas living room. If you look closely, you'll see this player was a luxurious large wooden cabinet, often placed prominently with integrated speakers and the turntable hidden beneath a lid. During the holiday season, this cabinet came alive as both a decorative item and a primary source of entertainment. Playing Christmas albums was a solemn ritual. Dad would carefully place the phonograph needle onto the vinyl disc, adjust the tracking arm, and then sit down like someone who had just tuned Christmas itself. The sound emanating from this large speaker system filled the living room space, blending all the scents and lights together. The gentle crackle of the vinyl accompanied the voice of Perry Como, creating an unparalleled cozy atmosphere. The console stereo was a symbol of family gatherings and shared music. It didn't just play music, it created a communal experience where everyone enjoyed the Christmas soundscape together in a focused way. The replacement by more compact audio equipment and the later arrival of larger color TVs gradually overshadowed the central role of this console stereo. In the 1960s and early 1970s, flocking your own real Christmas tree at home was a Christmas staple. These kits allowed families to transform their trees into a snow-covered winter wonderland, costing about $3.99 in 1968, offering significant savings compared to professional flocking services. The process was extremely messy, but it was a memorable family activity. Families spread newspapers, mixed the solution composed of adhesive and white cellulose fibers, and spent hours spraying fake snow. Sometimes, people even used a vacuum cleaner in reverse to blow the flocking material. The results varied widely, from winter wonderland perfection to disasters that looked like sick trees. The most concerning part was that this flocking powder contained asbestos until 1969, creating health hazards that no one recognized at the time. In the end, even if Christmas was over, the cleanup wasn't. The cleanup work lasted for days, with white residue and artificial snow continuing to appear in the house for months afterward. By 1975, when pre-flocked artificial trees became more convenient, along with health and environmental concerns, this messy but memorable tradition had completely disappeared. We remember it as a Christmas tradition that required physical participation, despite accepting a bit of danger and a lot of mess. Despite the obvious fire hazard, many families of German or Scandinavian descent still insisted on using real candles on their Christmas trees throughout the 1960s. This was an old and respected tradition. Small white candles were carefully attached to the branch tips using special holders, cere clips. However, they were only lit for a few minutes on Christmas Eve, creating a warm, sparkling light incomparable to electric lights. This was a dangerous ritual requiring strict supervision. Families observed strict rules: never leave the room, designate a watch person, and always keep buckets of water and fire extinguishers nearby. The National Fire Protection Association in 1964 reported up to 8,000 Christmas tree fires annually, with candles being the leading cause. Insurance companies vehemently opposed this practice. By 1972, most cities had banned this dangerous practice, and insurance companies refused to compensate for candle-related fires. This dangerous yet magical tradition faded forever, giving way to safer electric lights. An army of glass festivities lined up on the bathroom counter, smelling of powder and aftershave, were none other than Avon collectibles. Avon Christmas cologne bottles were an indispensable part of 1970s decor, often given as gifts. These cologne and aftershave bottles were molded in glass into the shapes of Santa Claus, snowmen, reindeer, and angels. They lined up on the bathroom counter like a festive army, ready to greet guests. Although they carried the faint scent of aftershave and powder, the important thing was that they weren't really meant for use but for display. Each year, another bottle was added to the collection. They were small, cast glass time capsules, holding holiday cheer and memories. Avon played a significant role in the 1970s holiday decorating. Their collection included ceramic figures and scented candles, all notable for their attention to detail and playful designs. Every year, a special truck arrived from the gas station, not just a toy but a symbol of quality and anticipation during the holiday season. Hess toy trucks were one of the most anticipated products every Christmas season in the 1960s and 1970s. Although introduced in 1964, they quickly established themselves as a holiday tradition by the 70s. Children and collectors alike loved them because they were extremely well built and durable, a stark contrast to many other cheap plastic toys. The highlight of Hess trucks were their unique features, such as actual working lights and realistic designs like real-life commercial vehicles. The focus on quality and durability made them a desirable Christmas gift. Waiting to see which Hess truck would be released that year was part of the festive excitement. They represent a rare combination of high-quality toys and a treasured Christmas tradition. If you could go back in time and re-experience one of these moments, what would you choose and why? Tell us, what do you miss the most? Before social media, there was a physical, glittering wall filled with well wishes. Do you remember how Mom did it? Christmas was the time for real glittering paper cards, featuring angels, gold script, and red holly bells. In the 1970s, sending and receiving Christmas cards was a peak cultural tradition. As these cards began pouring in daily, Mom would perform an important ritual: hanging the cards. She would stretch a long string of yarn, usually red or green, across a doorway or along the mantel. Then, each card was carefully clipped using small clothespins, creating a wall filled with well wishes. This decorative card wall was a tangible measure of the family's social connectivity. The more cards there were, the fuller and warmer the house felt. Each card was a personal reminder that someone far away was thinking of you. For many families, receiving a card from distant relatives was the only annual means of contact. Card sending started in November, involving maintaining a address list by hand in special notebooks. The whole family would participate in stamping envelopes and writing personal messages. Today, receiving a physical card is a rarity, but in the 70s, mail carriers had to deliver tons of cards daily, and the post office had to hire thousands of temporary workers. We miss this tradition because it symbolized physical, tactile connection and the magic of receiving something personal and genuine through the mail. If you could go back in time and re-experience one of these moments, what would you choose and why? Tell us, what do you miss the most? Even if chipped, even if the donkey had to be glued back together, the Woolworths set held a sacred place because Christmas is about tradition, not perfection. The Woolworths Nativity set was an overly familiar part of 70s holiday decorating culture. It was not an elaborate or expensive set, but it was considered sacred because of its traditional value. The Woolworths Nativity set was made of hand-painted and slightly chalky figurines. This set was taken out of the same old box every year, and the signs of wear and tear were part of its charm. Often the infant Jesus figurine would be chipped at a corner. One of the wise men might be slightly tilted, and the donkey figurine had been glued back together multiple times after minor accidents. However, no one cared about the imperfection. The whole experience was about tradition and the recreation of the core story of Christmas. This set was usually placed on the mantle or a side table, serving as a rustic and heartfelt reminder of the true meaning of the holiday season. The rusticity of these chalky clay figures contrasted with the more elaborate porcelain sets, emphasizing that 70s Christmas was about simple, sincere keepsakes. Out of these toys, which one did you most wish to open on Christmas morning? Don't forget to hit like, subscribe to the Back to Yesterday channel, and share this video with friends from the same era to preserve these beautiful memories together. See you in the next video.